Let's see. I just want to make sure that I didn't run out of battery, like the first speaker. Thank you so much. It's great to stand here again in the Microsoft office. Worked in Microsoft myself 12 years, but have been out for some years to work and see how the real world works as well. So hopefully I can share something from that world, building companies, building AI companies, and hopefully that will give a little bit of different, maybe, insight. Disclaimer, these are my opinions, okay? So if you don't agree with me, it's okay. We can discuss afterward, if that's okay. So I was thinking about what I should call this talk. I met Peter a couple of months, not even a month, maybe 2 months, I can't remember, but seems like it was yesterday. And I did a talk and he said, you should come here and share my insight. So I thought, okay, what should I call it? And I'm not into football, I'm into boxing. So that's, if anybody knows where that comes from, it's Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the face. Yeah, I couldn't use that, that was too violent, so I toned it down a little bit. Hopefully this works. So I'm gonna take you through a little bit the pace and talk about there's gonna be some stats, some examples of what worked and what didn't work. Yeah, let's see if I can get this running. I don't have a clicker, so let's see. Oh, yes, I have a clicker. I just took it out. That's why. Now clicker and mic in one hand, so let's see if it works. Yeah. So a little bit quick run through what's happened the past quarter. Things are moving fast. Rupa mentioned Anthropic in the end. Claude is building her slides, also mine, so that's given, but something is happening there. The pricing and valuation of companies I can just dream about. I'm not a model builder, I should have probably been that. It would be very lucrative. Or you use all your money on GPUs anyway, so you don't have any money left. You see a lot of uptake on Copilot, which is great, I think, for Microsoft. We also see it's interesting that Shopify has now realized that in order to implement AI, you need to hire people and not remove them. So it's an interesting take as well. And I'll get back to what it means. Agents are moving from demo. They are actually being part of the org chart. So instead of having agents, they are now actually employees of companies. Interesting, maybe. Maybe we'll have one person billion-dollar company soon. Who knows? And then the pace is just crazy. I mean, 4, 6, 4, 5, I don't know if you know these numbers, but Claude, OpenAI, they are just coming with new and new models, and it's just crazy. They have a lot of money, so that helps, right? So hopefully you're using it properly, because a lot of energy has been used to run these models. And soon we will have a new model, which was, I think is a genius marketing approach. They delayed it because it's too powerful. And every single software is out there is going to be hacked. So that's going to happen soon. Hopefully we will have fixed our bugs and everything that we need. So that's just in the 3 months or something. I probably haven't taken, but the big things that happened. And the numbers, and I saw there were some numbers in the last presentation by Rupa as well, and I also taken like, this one is more for software development, but it's important, I think. You can build software, and 4 out of 5 times it will actually build your software. I do that. I'm not a developer anymore, but I build software somehow every day now. If I need something, I build software. It works. I'm not saying it's production ready, but it works. So that's going very fast. What about the impact? So there's another report now. You can probably ask me about that, and I can give you that numbers. But it's on a P&L level, it's not a big impact, maybe 39. I'll come back to you what I mean. But for every 25% jump in AI, you actually drop the delivery stability. So something to think about. It's moving fast, but maybe we're moving too fast at the moment. We need to do something. And 45% of AI-generated code introduced. This one I could say more. In my opinion, everybody don't really know if you're not a developer and you're putting production code with AI, we're not there. My opinion, as I said, up to you too. But the punchline is, the catch is that there's only 5% that have reached a scale. Rest is in pilots. So that's only 5% of something. So that number is quite low. So if that's somebody saying it's now 90% people are making money on AI, I don't know. Who believes that, by the way? That 90+% companies are making money on AI? Nobody. Even the big ones are not making that much money. That I can feel. But there are some good news. I'm not going to just paint a bleak picture. There are, production code. I see Spotify has been merged. They have rewritten their code with 90% less time. We have JP Morgan. We have some other 500, like Fortune 500. And Google is writing 50% of their code, new code at least. Again, this is from Google. You can believe it or not. Obviously, it's in their interest that you should believe it, that it works writing code with AI, because they have invested a lot of money in it. But the reality. So this is Dario from Anthropic. He believes that it was actually 25. He said that 90% code will be written with AI. But if you look at the global survey, in January 2026, only 30% of CEO expect AI to drive earning growth this year, down from 38. So it's actually the confidence is actually not very high right now. I don't think neither is wrong. I think it's how you look at it. For Dario, it's important that he succeed. And the CEO needs to make sure that they don't get fired, right? So both actually has to make sure they don't get fired. So I think it's important to have this view. Yes, there is a rosy Silicon Valley view, and then there is, what's actually happening. That's important. So as I said, the confidence is not high. Most of the pilots are failing. And this is kind of, as you can say, if you don't do anything about it, most of your implementation, even what you've been told to implement and try out, is going to fail if you don't take care. That's kind of if you don't remember anything, you can't just put it in your organization and it will work. It doesn't work like that. Even for me, who runs an AI company and doesn't do anything else, I have to build what I call the harness. I have to make sure everything is, even my marketing guy is building a harness for marketing branding. So I don't say something on the slides in a different way, right? So even a small company like us has to do some work. So I think that's very important that you also take in that. And I do agree with Rupa about the evals. It's important. You need to put in evals. But I don't know if you can do that. I mean, every company don't have a data science team. So think about that. How are you going to implement the data science? We have a data scientist, and he makes sure that we don't say anything wrong. But that's not everybody. It's software company. Some failures. Not going to be too hard on them. I mean, Amazon disputes that, so it's fine. But there are some issues with their bot that took down their production system. We have the fun one was this one. This guy, Jason Lemkin, a SaaS guy. He wanted to obviously release code in the open, and the data was deleted. And the service said, no, it's not deleted. And he tried to lie. So it's an interesting kind of thing that happens. So, but these things are happening all the time. So be careful. Even Anthropic, the one who is releasing Mythos, which is the one that will uncover all kind of flaws, even they manage to just suddenly have their code released in the open, right? So things are going too wild, I think, right now. And so the vibe coding is the big thing, right? Everybody here, anybody vibe code here? Yeah, good. I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed about that. Vibe code, that's the way you understand how things are going. Just don't put it in production without some test. That's the only thing. But I urge everybody to try out some vibe coding to understand what this actually means. Like if you don't put it in production, at least talk with IT. I think everything will be fine. So governance is very important. Okay, this one is probably gonna be a thought-provoking thing, but everything that you learned about AI, or especially after 23, is probably outdated. So you probably heard, like, there is so many gurus that do prompt engineering now, like YouTube, you can find them. Now there is a harness engineering, context engineering, and so on. There's so many more, right? So you can go and you can learn about these things, but I think there is something in it. The problem is that the model moves. What I mean by model moves is that I already told you that Anthropic, and they are fighting, everybody, Google, Anthropic, Open, they're coming with new models. Anybody here was using OpenAI's ChatGPT 4 and were very connected to it? They have built this amazing way of talking to it, and suddenly they came with a new model and it became, as somebody called it, it's lost its personality, right? It was so attached to that model. Don't get attached to models, okay? Because they're gonna change, they're gonna grow up, they're gonna become teenager, and then they're gonna be grown-ups and they're gonna start yelling at you perhaps at some point. But the point is that what you're learning about how to use these models in classrooms is not gonna help you, right? You sit down for 3 hours, do a course, I can prompt now. And then 3 months, 6 months later, you do a prompt and it gives you wrong thing. Why? Because you put too much into the prompt. Because you were told to put too much in the prompt. So there is actually the model that used to be you need to write a lot of stuff to get it right. Now you only have to write one line, right? So that's what I mean by your skills is already decaying. So one of the things that also the first speaker talked about was frontier. I'm going to talk it from a different aspect. It's not its framework is by Nate Jones here, and you can go and listen to him. I think he's a great podcaster, and you really like to his work. But it's about that the AI bubble, not that bubble that you're in a bubble and you don't know what's happening outside, but the AI bubble, what AI can do, right? It increases. So that bubble increases. Like 2 years ago, it couldn't even write an email properly. It couldn't make a PowerPoint for just a year ago, and so on. So now these things are coming. And so the question is that, are you going to be the person that sits in this bubble and do the same work as AI is doing? Or are you going to be on the front or frontier? Basically, how to use AI for your advantage. I'm not saying that you should go and buy the best model. I'm just saying that you should know what you can do with AI. It's actually, to be honest, it's your responsibility as well. I know it sounds very weird that I tell you, you have to learn it, because nobody's gonna, it's like when people said, I can't find something on Google, and then you found it, right? It's similar. People didn't learn to use Google at some point. Same here. So if you are still doing, I don't know, like summarizing something, routing the cases. I mean, you already saw the demos in, Operation Manager. Sorry if that's not the right product, but in Microsoft is already doing a lot of these things with AI. And if you're sitting here using your time, then maybe you're using, it's fine. If you decide not to use AI, I cannot force you. I already told, it's a decision to also not use AI. right? But you can't be, I don't care. So either you decide to use AI and then do it properly, or you just leave it and fine, it's also okay. But then you took a decision. So I believe that being on the frontier is important so that you can do the thing with AI that makes sense. And this bubble, the point of is they will grow. So what you do today with AI on frontier will be inside the bubble tomorrow. Right? So maybe today you cannot make good PowerPoint without some working with it, but tomorrow it will just do it. Who knows? Simple ones. At least status updates for the board meetings, perhaps. Okay. So that's frontier for me. So the static training infrastructure, see if you can do differently. I think it's more important to get your hands dirty, learn. And also not everybody needs to be expert in this. Maybe you should hire people like the guys in the company I mentioned that they found out the only way they can use AI is to hire right people. So what's the right people? One of the things that they could be that you ask somebody instead of how would you solve this thing, ask them how they would solve it with AI. Right? Then you will see quickly if this is an AI native person or is somebody who don't want to use AI. It's up to you. Again, as I said, if you don't want to use AI in your company, you don't care about it, leave it. But if you want your company to be more productive and use AI and I don't see a way back, then maybe that's what you need to do. So hiring people is also important. So I know this it's a lot of jargon, especially from I work with both tech and non-tech. But this is what people are talking about. And there is now also a talk about prompt craft is basically what you need to do to understand how does model work. Context engineering is basically, I don't know, who is using some kind of AI and it runs out of context every day. Maybe learn, it's kind of funny because you get the blame if you use up your context, but that's how it is right now. Intent engineering, this is where I find start becoming interesting because that's where I think about harness. Basically, instead of telling it what to do, you already told it how your company works, how things are, what kind of language or the way you brand tone you have. All that is put in the intent, so that not everybody's sitting there and trying to make a PowerPoint and it looks weird and ugly because they're not using intent. So things like that can be very interesting. And then specification engineering is a new kind of, it's not new, but everything is new in AI. But the past 6 months, at least, if you look at GitHub and others are coming with specification-based development. So imagine a world where you guys who are the smart guys who knows actually the business works are actually the one developing. Not actually writing the code, but developing what it should build. Today it's the developer who just, you give a spec and he reads and asks a lot of questions and they decide how it should be built. And then you're like, nah, I'm not happy with that. I don't know, anybody done that? Talk to a developer lately? Yeah. The point is that it takes a lot of back and forth. What if you can reduce that? I know a lot of modern companies know how to do this, but most companies are still doing this. They are just putting this on the developer and hoping that they will come up with a good idea. But what if you are the one specifying and writing the specification that becomes code automatically? That's the specification-driven engineering. If we are there, I don't know yet, but there are 3-4 different frameworks for that. So what I'm trying to kind of come to is that if you are, you can be person A, you can sit there and build a slide deck. That's typical way to do it. Make me a slide deck about Q3 result. That's one way to do it. And it will build you something. Maybe 40 minutes or something with a lot of back and forth. Anybody done that, by the way? Have you made a slide deck? Yeah? And then you can maybe write a little bit more. I know, it takes more time. 11 minutes maybe. Context, intent, constraints. Build your harness. I know this word is a little bit foreign, but don't worry. You can look it up afterward, but it's becoming something coming up. And basically it's just put a harness around the AI so it does less stupid stuff. Simple, right? And if you can do that, maybe then every time you say, build me a Q4, Q whatever, now it's always know what to do. You don't have to use time on it. So if you use a little bit of your time, you can get really good result. And for me, it's important to talk about this because, you know, it doesn't matter which vendor you use. It's the same. I don't want you to be locked into a vendor. If you want to go to Claude one day, if you want to go to Copilot another day, it should use the same harness. Okay, so hopefully that is interesting. And where are you on maturity level here in this room? The autocomplete we had, you know, basically that it completes. You've seen that with lately that when you start writing something, it gives you autocomplete suggestion. Google is doing, Microsoft is doing, everybody's doing it. So that's good. You don't trust AI, but maybe use the autocomplete. Or you basically use your AI agent or AI chatbot as a coding intern, maybe. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be coding intern. It can be a PowerPoint maker intern if you want, or find me all these different things that I need to develop my report, whatever. And then you can also maybe start doing kind of complete work with AI. I don't know who is using, I don't know, agents is a big word. Let's see. How many people use agents in their mind here? Okay, some people. So you use it, so it's not like a chat, but you put up and say, hey, now I need to do this, build a team for me, go and do this. That's a very common way now. So most people are probably, you know, on the agent part. And the next one is interesting. What if the new job title of yours is gonna be agent managers or something, right? I'm an agent manager. I run 100 agents. I should be paid more or something, right? So that's something we see. We see people really good with AI, knows the boundaries, frontier workers, so they know how to use it, and they know how to use each different model, because they're not using one model. They're using different models. They're using Claude, they're using OpenAI, they're using Nano Banana, Gemini, and so on for different things, right? That's when you start becoming a manager and you have to manage. Anybody doing that? Yeah, so you have a manager of AI. That should be your title now, right? Yeah. I don't know if you get paid more for that. Then developers PM. Anybody doing that? Meaning that you develop code, you are PM, but basically a developer is now developing as a PM, tells everything should be done and get the code in production. Anybody doing that? Yeah, a little bit. You're there. You're getting there. Yeah, but it's a good start. You know, you should ask for a raise because you're working for like 10 people now. And then the last one, dark factory. Anybody heard about that? Yeah, it is scary because it's based on the, you know, when you have these robots in factories running around and you turn off the lights because no humans, right? What about the same with the AI coding? You don't need human. Everything is, you just tell it what to do and you just test the output. If it's correct, out it goes. That's dark factories. A couple of companies are trying to do that. So just build a, yeah. It sounds a bit scary when you say it that way, but no humans in loop. Maybe for small like things that we don't care that much about, that could be good, but I think you will have a lot of bad software at some point as well. So, but again, there are companies doing that as well. And that's where kind of we see like TELUS is using a lot of these kind of AI agents. Zapier the same, they're building themselves. And then this strong DM is actually, I don't know where they are located, but they are building a black factory basically, or software factory, where they basically have no human and they get the specification, ask, and then they deliver the code with 3 people. So that's happening as well. So you don't need an army basically to do this, but are you ready for that? Yeah. You can think about it in the lunch. I'm between you and the lunch, so that's where you can think about it. Okay, so this is actually one thing that I will say that, okay, Rupa mentioned that, right? Learn from the history. So you have the truth, ground truth in your company. Everybody has that, right? In your project tools, you have a lot of history. That is gold now, right? Don't throw it away, please. That's gold now. You can use that. You know how you solved things, how you did things, how that went. Imagine if you can use that to now actually train your agents to know how to build it, right? Because agent is just a child. Basically, they grow up and learn. But in the start, they do really weird stuff, right? So same here. If you can use your data, use that. So don't throw it away. Also, unstructured signals, right? Because not everything is in the project management tools. Most of them are, especially if you work in other, like you work in sales maybe, it's in email, it's on Teams, it's on WhatsApp now as well, and all these places, right? Think about how you get hold of that. I know it's we live in Europe, so we can't get all that from employees, but again, think about that. So the last one is this detection when things go wrong. Well, how do you solve it? What do you do about it? Do you have a plan? When the AI meets the production and the customer and it goes wrong, how do you solve it? I know that you, sir, there are doing that, and you know how to do that. You have a plan. You have a contingency plan if something goes wrong. Yeah? Okay. It's could be good to maybe talk to you about that, so how you do that. In our case, what we're building is that for us, it's imperative that we are not wrong. We're trying to actually give software houses, PMs, insight into how they should be building the next feature. So if they get the wrong kind of answer from us and we haven't done our job, then we might build something very expensive and nobody will buy it. So it's a big risk for us now. So we need to build a plan, and we are there, I hope, working on it, but still a startup phase for us. So the AI strategy that survives when the model starts hallucinating, maybe these things, 4 things can help you from doing that. So that's actually where I want to kind of end this talk. I started with what happens when you get punched. I mean, if you have a plan, you're still gonna be punched. That's kind of the point. But it's better than not having any plan, right? So when your customer suddenly, the AI does something weird with the customer, then what do you do about that? Something to think about. So I am building software to remove the guesswork. I'm not going to talk much about it, but we are doing some of this thing. We're using these signals. We're using financial data, code. We're using pull request, history basically of product, and we're trying to give a better understanding back. So not much. I'm not going to go into details there. Oops, that was not what should have happened. We start again. Sorry. So let's see if I can get this up. So where are we time-wise? Okay. I'm trying to get you to lunch so you can talk about this. So when you are sitting there, maybe you can talk a little bit about what would you do to audit if you build these agents and they are actually in production. How do you make sure that they are not going to do something weird? How do you control them? Just keep them on the same model for a while? That doesn't happen because at some point, unless you build that in-house, the model will be replaced by OpenAI, for example. I think they have removed 4.0 model. You invest in my opinion, invest in somebody who can actually do this kind of work instead of maybe get a lot of consultants to come in. Maybe have somebody you understand how to be a frontier. I know it's a weird word, frontier worker, but I think it resonates in the industry right now. But if you can have somebody you understand how to solve complex things with AI and hire them rather than if they, I mean, of course they should be able to have been to school and stuff, but maybe that's not that important if they can actually do something, right? That's kind of my opinion. As I said, all of these are my opinions. And then maybe also measure decision, not deliverables. In code, that's basically don't measure lines of code, but measure the outcomes. Like how much did maybe the customer is more happy, less churn in the software, right? More sales, is that you should be measuring. So these are the things, 3 things you can think about a little bit. And if you don't want to think too much is basically, if the models keep moving every 90 days, what in your current AI setup will be right in October or wrong? You can think about that during lunch. So I hope that was a little bit different approach. So thank you so much for listening.